The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Meridian. Alex Martinez pressed his face against the cold glass and watched the alien sun cast strange shadows across the ship's hull. 3 months into humanity's first diplomatic mission to the Andromeda sector, and he still couldn't believe he was here. Dr. Martinez, report to Bay 7 immediately. The voice crackled through the comm system, sharp and urgent. Alex pushed away from the window and jogged through the narrow corridors. His lab coat flapped behind him as he navigated the maze of passages that connected the research vessel's various sections. As the ship's lead xenobiologist, he had been expecting this call for weeks. Bay 7 buzzed with activity. Commander. Lisa Rodriguez stood at the center of it all, her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun as she barked orders to the crew. Marines in full combat gear flanked the entrance, their weapons at the ready but pointed down. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut. "There she is," Rodriguez said, pointing to a containment unit in the corner. "Our first live phylaxy." Alex approached the transparent chamber slowly. Inside, a figure lay motionless on what appeared to be a bed of crystalline material. The alien was roughly humanoid in shape, but taller and more slender than any human. Her skin had a pale blue tint that seemed to shift and shimmer in the artificial light. Long silver hair spread across the crystal bed like liquid metal. "She's beautiful," Alex whispered, then caught himself. "I mean, fascinating from the scientific perspective." Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "She's also dying. Our medical team can't figure out what's wrong with her. Her vital signs are dropping steadily, and nothing we've tried has helped." Alex studied the readings on the medical displays. Heart rate, brain activity, cellular regeneration, everything was declining at an alarming rate. "How long has she been like this?" "Since we brought her aboard 6 hours ago. The Thalaxi delegation said she volunteered to come with us for cultural exchange, but now they're claiming we're killing her somehow." The alien's eyes fluttered open. They were large and completely black like deep pools of space. She looked directly at Alex through the transparent barrier, and he felt something strange pass between them. Not quite recognition, but something deeper. "Has anyone tried direct contact?" Alex asked. "Are you insane?" Dr. Katie Phillips stepped forward, her medical scanner beeping frantically. "We don't know anything about their biology. She could be carrying diseases that would wipe out the entire ship. Or she could be dying because she's isolated from contact," Alex countered. "Some species require social interaction to survive." The alien tried to sit up, her movements weak and shaky. She pressed one long, pale hand against the barrier and looked at Alex with what could only be described as desperation. Her lips moved, but no sound came through the containment system. "What's her name?" Alex asked. Rodriguez checked her tablet. "The Thalaxi called her Zara 7. Apparently, the number indicates her position in their social hierarchy." Alex moved closer to the barrier. "Hello, Zara 7. I'm Alex. I want to help you." The alien's eyes widened. She pressed both hands against the transparent wall and spoke again, more urgently this time. The universal translator built into the ship's systems struggled to process her words. "She's saying something about dreams," Phillips said, frowning at her scanner. "And night." The translator keeps repeating those words. "Dreams?" Alex looked puzzled. "What could that mean?" Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Emergency lights flashed red as the crew scrambled to respond. "Report!" Rodriguez shouted into her comm unit. "Commander, we have a problem," came the reply. 3 crew members in Section C have collapsed. They're unconscious and their vital signs are erratic. Phillips grabbed her medical kit. "I have to go. Keep an eye on the alien." She rushed out of the bay, followed by half the Marine guards. Alex watched Zara 7 through the barrier. Her condition seemed to be getting worse by the minute. Her skin had lost its shimmer and was turning a dull gray color. Her breathing was shallow and labored. "Commander," Alex said quietly, "I think we need to consider the possibility that she's not the problem. Maybe she's the solution." "What do you mean?" "The crew members who collapsed. Where were they when it happened?" Rodriguez checked her tablet. "Section C, that's 2 levels below us. Directly below the containment bay," Alex realized. What if she's not producing something harmful? What if she needs something from us? The alien's hand slipped down the barrier, leaving a faint mark on the transparent surface. Her eyes were closing, and Alex could see her life signs on the monitors dropping into critical ranges. "She's dying," he said. "And I think I know why." Rodriguez grabbed his arm. "Explain." "The translator keeps mentioning dreams and night." "What? If her species requires something that only happens when humans sleep? What if she needs to be close to us during our rest cycles?" "That's completely theoretical." "Everything about this situation is theoretical," Alex shot back. "But look at the evidence. She's dying in isolation, and crew members are falling ill in the section closest to her. Maybe she's trying to reach them, to get what she needs to." "Survive?" The monitors showed Zara 7's heart rate dropping to dangerous levels. Her breathing became more labored, and her pale skin took on an ashen quality. "I'm going in," Alex announced. "Absolutely not," Rodriguez said. "I can't risk losing our only xenobiologist." "You're going to lose her if we don't do something. And, if she dies, we lose our chance to understand the Thalaxy. The entire diplomatic mission fails." Alex was already moving toward the containment controls. "Besides, if I'm right about her needing something from humans, then I might be the only one who can help her." Rodriguez hesitated. The weight of the mission pressed down on her shoulders. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization hung in the balance. "5 minutes," she said finally. "You get 5 minutes, and I want full medical monitoring the entire time." Alex nodded and began the decontamination sequence. As the barriers lowered, he could smell something sweet and strange in the air, like flowers mixed with ozone. He stepped into the containment area slowly, his hands visible in empty. Zara 7's eyes opened as he approached. Up close, he could see that her skin wasn't just pale blue, but seemed to contain tiny points of light, like stars scattered across her surface. She was even more beautiful than he had thought. "Hello, Zara 7, he said softly. "I'm Alex. I'm here to help." She struggled to sit up, and he instinctively reached out to support her. The moment their skin touched, something incredible happened. Alex felt a rush of images and sensations flood his mind, not his own memories, but hers. He saw vast cities of crystal and light, ships that sailed between stars, and beings of incredible grace and intelligence. More importantly, he felt her hunger. Not for food or water, but for something else entirely. Something that pulsed and flowed in the darkness of human sleep. "Dreams," he whispered. "You feed on dreams." Zara 7's grip on his arm tightened. Through their connection, he understood that her species had evolved to sustain themselves on the unique energy patterns that human minds produce during deep sleep. Without access to that energy, they would slowly fade away. "Commander," Alex called out, his voice filled with wonder. "I think I understand what she needs, and I think I know how to save her." The monitors showed Zara 7's vital signs beginning to stabilize for the first time since she had come aboard. Her skin started to regain its shimmer, and her breathing became more regular. Alex looked into her dark eyes and saw something that transcended species: gratitude, hope, and the beginning of a bond that would change both of their worlds forever. Alex woke up feeling more rested than he had in months. The strange dreams still lingered in his mind like echoes of a beautiful song. He had seen cities made of living crystal, oceans that reflected 3 different moons and beings of light, dancing among the stars. But these weren't his memories. He sat up in his quarters and checked the time. 6 hours had passed since he had fallen asleep next to Zara 7's containment unit. Commander Rodriguez had insisted on medical monitoring, so Dr. Katie Phillips had set up a makeshift bed right beside the alien's chamber. "Computer, status report on the Thalaxy subject," Alex said, rubbing his eyes. "Zara 7's vital signs have improved by 60% over the past 6 hours. Heart rate stable, brain activity normal, cellular regeneration active." Alex smiled. His theory had been correct. During his sleep, Zara 7 had somehow drawn energy from his dreams, and it had saved her life. But the process had affected him too. The visions he had experienced were too detailed and vivid to be just dreams. The door to his quarters chimed, and Dr. Phillips entered with a concerned expression. She carried a tablet full of medical readings and looked like she hadn't slept. "At all, we need to talk," she said, settling into the chair across from his bed. "Your brain activity last night was unlike anything I've ever seen." Alex swung his legs over the side of the bed. "What do you mean?" "Your REM sleep patterns showed unusual electromagnetic activity. It's as if your brain was broadcasting on a frequency we've never detected before." She showed him the readings on her tablet. "And look at this, your neural activity synced perfectly with Zara 7's. The graph showed two wave patterns that moved in perfect harmony, like a dance between two minds." Alex studied the data with growing fascination. "It's not just one way," he realized. "She's not just taking energy from me. She's sharing something." "Beck, that's what worries me," Phillips said. "We don't know what she's putting into your head. Those could be false memories or worse." Alex thought about the images he had seen, the vast libraries of knowledge, the advanced technology, the history of a civilization that had existed for thousands of years. It didn't feel false, it felt like truth. "I want to try again tonight." He said, "Absolutely not. Commander Rodriguez has already ordered you to maintain a safe distance from the alien." "Her name is Zara 7, Alex said firmly. "And she's dying without this connection. We saw how quickly she deteriorated when we first brought her aboard." Phillips stood up and paced to the window. "Alex, I'm worried about you. The psychological effects of this kind of neural linking are completely unknown. You could lose yourself in her mind. Or I could gain something incredible," Alex countered. "Katie, what if this is how her species normally communicates? What if this is how they've always shared knowledge and experiences?" Before Phillips could respond, the ship's intercom crackled to life. "Dr. Martinez, report to the bridge immediately." Alex quickly dressed and made his way through the corridors to the bridge. The crew moved with the efficiency of a well-trained team, but he could sense tension in the air. Captain Ryan Foster stood at the center of the bridge, his weathered face showing signs of stress. "Doctor," Foster said without turning around, "we've received a transmission from the Thalaxi fleet. They want to know about Zara 7's condition." On the main screen, an alien face appeared. The Thalaxi leader had the same pale blue skin and silver hair as Zara 7, but his features were more angular and his black eyes held an ancient wisdom. "I am Keth Prime," the alien said through the universal translator. "We understand that our envoy is in distress. We request immediate information about her status." Foster nodded to Alex, who stepped forward. "Zara 7's condition has stabilized. We've discovered that she requires a specific type of energy to survive, something that humans produce during sleep." Keth Prime's expression didn't change, but Alex caught something in his eyes that might have been surprise or hope. "You have made the connection," Keth Prime said. "This is unexpected. We have searched for a compatible species for many generations. Most minds cannot provide what we need to survive." "What exactly do you need from us?" Alex asked. "Dreams," Keth Prime replied simply, "but not ordinary dreams. The complex emotional patterns that your species creates during deep sleep. It is like food for our minds and bodies. Without it, we fade away." Commander Rodriguez stepped forward. "Are you saying that humans are the only species that can provide this energy? In all our travels across the galaxy, we have found none other. Your dreams contain something unique, a depth of emotion and imagination that feeds our very souls." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "How many of your people are dying because they don't have access to human dreams?" "Thousands," Keth Prime said sadly. "We are an ancient race, but we are fading. Our worlds grow empty as our people weaken and die. When we heard of humanity's expansion into space, we hoped—" The transmission suddenly cut out, leaving the bridge. In silence, Foster turned to his communications officer. "Lost signal, sir," the officer reported. "They're moving away from our position." "They're testing us," Rodriguez realized. "They want to see if we can actually help their people, or if Zara 7 was just a lucky accident." Alex looked at the blank screen where Keth Prime's face had been. "I need to get back to Zara 7 if I can learn more about how this connection works." Maybe we can help more of them. It's too dangerous, Phillips protested. We don't know the long-term effects of this neural linking. The long-term effects of not helping could be the extinction of an entire species, Alex shot back. And based on what I experienced last night, they have knowledge that could benefit humanity as well. Foster considered this. What kind of knowledge? Advanced. Technology, space travel techniques, scientific discoveries spanning thousands of years. When Zara 7 and I connected, I didn't just give her energy. She shared her memories with me. I saw things that could change how humans explore the galaxy. Or change how humans think, Phillips added darkly. Alex, you're talking about allowing an alien species to directly access human minds. The security implications alone, outweighed by the potential benefits, Foster decided. Dr. Martinez, I'm authorizing you to continue the experiments, but with strict medical monitoring. Dr. Phillips, I want you to document everything that happens. Alex nodded gratefully. Thank you, Captain. I won't let you down. As he left the bridge, Alex felt a strange pull drawing him back to Zara 7. It wasn't just scientific curiosity anymore. The brief connection they had shared had created something deeper, a bond that transcended species. He found Zara 7 sitting up in her containment unit, looking much healthier than when he had left her. Her skin had regained its shimmer, and her dark eyes tracked his movement as he approached. Hello, she said in perfect English, her voice like music. Alex stopped in surprise. You learned our language? From your dreams, she replied. I saw your words, your thoughts, your memories. I understand now why you helped me. Why? Because it is what humans do. You help others even when it costs you something. Even when it might be dangerous, Alex smiled. Not all humans are like that. You are, she said simply, and that is enough. As evening approached, Alex prepared for another night of connection with Zara 7. Dr. Phillips had set up even more monitoring equipment, and Captain Foster had stationed guards outside the containment bay. But Alex wasn't worried about security. He was excited about the possibilities. Are you ready? Zara 7 asked as he settled into the bed beside her chamber. I'm ready, Alex replied. Show me your world. As sleep took him, Alex felt his mind expand, beyond the boundaries of his human experience. Tonight he would learn not just about Zara 7's species, but about the vast network of civilizations that existed among the stars. And perhaps he would discover something about humanity's place in that greater universe. 3 weeks had passed since Alex began his nightly connections with Zara 7. The routine had become as natural as breathing. Each evening he would lie down beside her containment unit, and each morning he would wake with new knowledge flowing through his mind like a river of starlight. The changes in both of them were remarkable. Zara 7 had grown stronger and more vibrant with each passing day. Her skin now glowed with an inner light that pulsed gently with her heartbeat. She moved with fluid grace and spoke with increasing confidence about human culture and emotions. Alex had changed too, though the transformations were more subtle. His reflexes had sharpened, his memory had improved dramatically, and he could sense things about people that he had never noticed before. When Dr. Phillips walked into a room, he knew she was tired before she spoke. When Commander Rodriguez frowned at her reports, he could feel her frustration like a physical weight. You're becoming something different, Lieutenant Sam Baker said during their morning session. The ship's psychologist had been monitoring Alex's mental state since the connections began. Your brain scans show neural pathways that shouldn't exist in human anatomy. Alex sat across from Baker in the small counseling room, feeling more awake and alert than he had ever felt in his life. Different doesn't mean wrong. I'm still me, Sam. I'm just more than I was before. Are you? Because the crew is starting to notice changes. You barely interact with anyone except Zara 7. You eat your meals alone. You spend every free moment in that containment bay. She's teaching me things that could revolutionize human understanding of the universe, Alex said. Last night, I learned how to calculate hyperspace jumps without computer assistance. The night before, she showed me how her people harvest energy from stellar radiation. Baker leaned forward. Alex, listen to yourself. You're talking about her like she's the most important thing in your life? What happens when this mission ends? When we return to Earth and you're separated from her? The question hit Alex like a physical blow. The thought of being apart from Zara 7 filled him with a panic he couldn't explain. Through their connection, he had come to understand her thoughts and feelings as clearly as his own. She wasn't just teaching him about Thalaxi science, she was sharing her very soul with him. I don't know, he admitted. But I can't abandon her. She needs me to survive. And you need her too, don't you? Baker's voice was gentle but concerned. That's what worries me. This isn't just about scientific discovery anymore. You're emotionally dependent on this alien. Before Alex could respond, the ship's alarm system activated. Emergency lights flashed as Captain Foster's voice echoed through the corridors. All hands to stations. We have multiple contacts approaching our position. Alex rushed to the bridge where the main screen showed dozens of Thalaxi ships emerging from hyperspace. They were beautiful vessels shaped like elongated teardrops, with crystalline surfaces that caught and reflected the light of nearby stars. They're not responding to our communications, the communications officer reported, but they're not powering weapons either. Commander Rodriguez studied the tactical display. They're surrounding us. Classic containment formation. They're not here to fight, Alex said with certainty. They're desperate. More of their people are dying. How can you know that? Foster demanded. Alex touched his temple, where a slight headache had been building since the ships appeared. I can feel it. Through my connection with Zara 7, I can sense their emotions. They're scared and running out of time. The main screen flickered and Keth Prime's face appeared again. This time his expression was grave. Human vessel, we request permission to board. We have urgent matters to discuss regarding our survival. Foster looked at Rodriguez, who nodded reluctantly. Permission granted. Docking Bay 3. An hour later, Alex stood in the docking bay with the senior staff as a small Thalaxi shuttle landed. The aliens who emerged were clearly in distress. Their skin was pale and dull, lacking the healthy glow that Zara 7 now possessed. They moved slowly, like people carrying an enormous weight. Keth Prime led the group, accompanied by two other Thalaxi who appeared to be scientists or medical personnel. When they saw Alex, their dark eyes widened with something that might have been hope. You are the human who connects with Zara 7, Keth Prime said. We can sense her energy signature on you. It is strong and pure. How many more of your people need help? Alex asked directly. Thousands, one of the other Thalaxi replied. Our colony ships carry the last survivors of our race. Without the energy that only human dreams can provide, we will all perish within months. Dr. Phillips stepped forward. We need to understand the process better. How exactly does this energy transfer work? Keth Prime gestured to his companions. These are our finest scientists. They have studied the phenomenon for generations. We call it Jeltara, the sharing of souls. Your dreams are different from those of other species, the female scientist explained. Humans experience emotions with an intensity that creates unique neural patterns. When you sleep, your minds generate energy that resonates with our cellular structure. It's not just energy, Alex said, understanding flooding through him. It's life force. You're not just feeding on our dreams, you're sharing our humanity. The third Thalaxi, elderly even by their standards, nodded slowly. You begin. To understand, the connection changes both species. We gain your emotional depth, your capacity for hope and wonder, and you gain our knowledge, our expanded perception of reality. What are you asking of us? Foster said bluntly. Partnership, Keth Prime replied. We offer our technology, our science, our accumulated wisdom in exchange for volunteers who will form bonds with our people. Not as servants or slaves, but as equals sharing a deeper connection than either species has ever known. How many volunteers would you need? Rodriguez asked. Initially, perhaps 100 humans could sustain 1,000 of our people, but the bonds must be willing and complete. The connection requires trust, openness, and a willingness to share one's innermost self. Alex felt a chill of understanding. That's why it worked with Zara 7 and me. I wasn't afraid to connect with her. I wanted to understand her, to help her. And I wanted to know you. Zara Seven's voice came from behind them. She had been brought to the docking bay in a mobile containment unit, but now she stood free, her presence radiating calm and strength. The barriers between us dissolved because we chose to trust each other, she continued. That is what true. Gelterra requires not just physical proximity but emotional intimacy. Dr. Phillips looked uncomfortable. What about the psychological effects? We've seen changes in Dr. Martinez that concern us. I am not less human, Alex said firmly. I am more than I was before. Zara 7 hasn't taken anything from me. She's given me new ways to experience the world, new capacities for understanding and connection. But what happens to human individuality? Lieutenant Baker asked. If we're all connected to aliens, do we lose what makes us human? You lose fear? Zara 7 said simply. You lose the isolation that causes your species so much pain. But you gain something far more valuable, the knowledge that you are not alone in the universe. Keth Prime looked at Captain Foster. We do not ask for an immediate answer. But time is running short for our people. We have perhaps 2 months before the last of our colony ships fails. We'll need to contact Earth Command, Foster said. This decision is too big for one ship's crew. Of course, Keth Prime agreed. But while you deliberate, perhaps Dr. Martinez would consider demonstrating the full potential of Gelterra. Show your people what we can achieve together. Alex looked at Zara 7, seeing in her dark eyes the same anticipation he felt. Tonight. Their connection would go deeper than ever before. Tonight he would discover what it truly meant to share souls with another species. I'm ready, he said. Show me everything. As the aliens prepared to return to their ships, Alex felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The decision facing humanity was enormous, the chance to save an entire species while possibly transforming their own. But looking at Zara 7, feeling the bond that had grown between them, he knew they were on the verge of something extraordinary. The question was whether humanity would be brave enough to take the leap into a larger universe, or whether fear would cause them to turn away from the most significant opportunity in their history. The message from Earth Command came through 3 days later, and Alex could feel the tension in Captain Foster's voice as he read it aloud to the senior staff. Mission terminated. Return to Earth immediately. Under no circumstances are crew members to engage in further contact with alien subjects. Dr. Martinez is to be placed in protective custody for psychological evaluation. Alex felt his heart sink. Around the conference table, the faces of his colleagues showed a mixture of disappointment and fear. Only Dr. Phillips looked relieved. They're scared, Commander Rodriguez said quietly. The idea of humans bonding with aliens terrifies them. They should be scared, Lieutenant Baker added. We're talking about fundamental changes to human consciousness. What if these connections can't be broken? What if Alex can never be separated from the alien? Her name is Zara 7, Alex said for what felt like the 100th time. And the connection isn't something that controls me. It's something that completes me. Captain Foster rubbed his temples. Alex, you have to understand their position. From Earth's perspective, we're talking about turning humans into some kind of alien symbiotes. The security implications alone are outweighed by the humanitarian implications, Alex interrupted. We're talking about saving an entire species from extinction. How can we just turn our backs on that? Because it might destroy us in the process, Foster replied. Earth Command believes that widespread bonding with the Phylaxi could lead to the end of human independence. They're worried about mind control, about losing our essential humanity. Alex stood up abruptly. I need to talk to Zara 7. She needs to know what's happening. Alex, wait, Dr. Phillips called after him. We need to discuss the separation protocol. If we're returning to Earth, we need to gradually reduce your contact with the alien to minimize psychological trauma. No, Alex's voice was firm. I won't abandon her. She'd die without the dream connection. And you might die with it, Phillips shot back. We don't know what prolonged exposure to alien neural patterns will do to your brain. Alex left the conference room and headed straight to the containment bay. He found Zara 7 sitting quietly in her chamber, her skin noticeably dimmer than it had been that morning. She looked up as he entered, and he could see the sadness in her dark eyes. "You?" "No," she said simply. "How?" "I felt your distress through our bond. Your emotions are part of me now, just as mine are part of you." She stood and moved to the barrier between them. "They want to separate us." "I won't let them," Alex said, pressing his hand against the transparent wall. "There has to be another way, Alex." Zara 7's voice was gentle but sad. "Your people are afraid. They see our connection as a threat to their independence. Perhaps they are right to be cautious." "Your dying species is more important than their caution," Alex said angrily. "Thousands of your people are suffering while Earth Command sits in meetings and debates policy." The bay doors opened and Commander Rodriguez entered with 2 security officers. "Alex, I'm sorry. Captain's orders. You're to be confined to quarters until we reach Earth." "You can't do this," Alex protested. "If I'm separated from Zara 7, she start dying again. And there are thousands more like her who need help." "I know," Rodriguez said quietly. "But we have our orders." As the security officers moved to escort Alex away, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Emergency lights flashed red as the crew scrambled to respond to whatever new crisis had emerged. "Report!" Rodriguez shouted into her comm unit. "Commander, we have a problem," came the reply from the bridge. "Long-range sensors show a massive fleet approaching our position." "It's not Thilaxi." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. Through his connection with Zara 7, he sensed her sudden fear. "What is it?" he asked her. "The Devourers," she whispered. "They have found us." Rodriguez looked confused. "The what?" "An enemy of the Thilaxi," Alex explained, the knowledge flowing through his bond with Zara 7. "They're the reason her people are scattered across the galaxy. They consume entire civilizations." "How do you know this?" one of the security officers asked. "Because I know everything she knows," Alex said. "That's how the connection works. We share not just energy, but knowledge and memories." The ship shuddered as it changed course, and Captain Foster's voice echoed through the corridors. "All hands to battle stations. We have hostile contacts approaching." Rodriguez hesitated, then made a decision. "Alex, if you really can access Thilaxi knowledge, we need your help. What can you tell us about these Devourers?" Alex closed his eyes and let Zara 7's memories flow through him. Images of dark ships and terrible weapons filled his mind. He saw entire worlds stripped of life, civilizations reduced to ash and silence. "They're not just conquerors," he said. "They're parasites. They feed on the life force of other species, completely draining planets before moving on to the next target." "How do we fight them?" Rodriguez asked. "You don't," Alex replied. "The Thilaxi have been running from them for centuries. Their technology is far superior to anything humans have developed." "Then we're dead," one of the security officers said. "Not necessarily," Alex said, looking at Zara 7. "There might be a way, but it would require complete trust between our species." "Explain," Rodriguez demanded. "The Thilaxi have weapons that can hurt the Devourers, but they require massive amounts of energy to power them. The kind of energy that comes from human dreams, but amplified through multiple connections." Rodriguez looked skeptical. "You're talking about turning the entire crew into alien symbiotes?" "I'm talking about saving both our species," Alex said firmly. "If we can create enough connections, we might be able to power Thilaxi weapons and drive off the Devourers." The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Through the viewport, Alex could see dark shapes emerging from hyperspace, massive vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Commander," the bridge called through the comm, "the Thilaxi fleet is requesting permission to dock. They say they have a plan to defend against the Devourers." "Granted," Rodriguez said. Immediately, all docking bays. Within minutes, the ship was filled with Thilaxi refugees. Keth Prime and his scientists worked frantically to set up some kind of energy collection system, while other aliens helped evacuate the weakest members of their species from the damaged colony ships. "What do you need from us?" Alex asked Keth Prime. Volunteers, the alien leader replied. Humans willing to form emergency bonds with our people. The connections don't need to be permanent, but they must be complete. How many? At least 50. The more connections we can establish, the more power we can generate. Alex looked around at the frightened faces of his crewmates. Most of them had never seen a Thalaxi up close, and the idea of mentally bonding with an alien was terrifying. I'll do it, Dr. Phillips said suddenly. Everyone turned to stare at her in surprise. I've been monitoring Alex's condition for weeks. The connection isn't harmful, it's actually beneficial. His cognitive abilities have improved dramatically. Katie. You don't have to do this, Alex said. Yes, I do, she replied firmly. If there's a chance to save both our species, I have to take it. We all do. One by one, other crew members began to volunteer. Lieutenant Baker, despite his earlier concerns, stepped forward. If this is what it takes to survive, then I'm in. Commander. Rodriguez nodded. Count me in too. Within an hour, 50 humans had volunteered to form temporary bonds with Thalaxi partners. Alex watched as his crewmates lay down beside alien strangers, fear and determination warring in their faces. Will this work? He asked Zara 7. I don't know, she admitted, but it's our only chance. If we fail, both our species will become food for the devourers. As the first connections were established, Alex felt a surge of energy unlike anything he had experienced before. Through his bond with Zara 7, he could sense the other connections forming a network of human and Thalaxi minds, linked in desperate cooperation. The real test was about to begin. The energy flowing through the ship was incredible. Alex felt it coursing through every corridor, every room where humans and Thalaxi had formed their emergency bonds. What had started as 50 separate connections had become something far greater. A single network of shared consciousness spanning both species. Through his link with Zara 7, Alex could sense the other pairs. Dr. Phillips lay beside a young Thalaxi scientist named Vel3, their minds sharing medical knowledge that spanned two civilizations. Lieutenant Baker had connected with an elderly Thalaxi historian, and Alex could feel Baker's amazement as centuries of alien memories flowed through his consciousness. It's working, Zara 7 said, her voice filled with wonder. The energy levels are beyond anything we've achieved before. On the main screen, the Devourer fleet continued its approach. The dark ships moved like predators stalking prey, their hulls seeming to absorb the light from nearby stars. Alex counted at least 20 vessels, each one larger than the human ship. Thalaxi weapons are now online, Keth Prime announced from the bridge. We have enough power to engage the enemy. Captain Foster looked uncomfortable with the alien technology that had been rapidly installed throughout his ship, but he knew they had no choice. What exactly are we dealing with out there? Through the network of connections, Alex felt the collective knowledge of the Thalaxi flow into his mind. The Devourers don't just destroy civilizations, he said. They consume the life force of entire worlds. They've been hunting the Thalaxi for thousands of years, driving them from system to system. Why? Commander Rodriguez asked. Because the Thalaxi have something the Devourers want, Alex continued, the alien memories becoming clearer. The ability to form connections with other species. The Devourers can only take energy by force, but the Thalaxi can share it willingly. That makes them both powerful and dangerous to creatures that survive by conquest. The ship shuddered as the first Devourer weapons struck their shields. The lights flickered, and Alex could feel the fear rippling through the network of connected minds. Return fire, Foster ordered. The Thalaxi weapons responded with beams of pure energy that seemed to pulse with the rhythm of human dreams. Where they struck the Devourer ships, dark hulls began to crack and burn. For the first time in the battle, the enemy vessels slowed their advance. We're hurting them, Rodriguez said with surprise. The weapons are powered by human dream energy, Zara 7 explained. The Devourers have never encountered anything like it. They don't understand how to defend against the pure emotional force that humans generate. More Devourer ships opened fire, and the human vessel shook under the assault. But with each attack, the network of human Thalaxi connections grew stronger. Alex could feel the bonds deepening as fear gave way to determination and trust. Alex. Dr. Phillips called out from across the bay where she lay connected to her Thalaxi partner. I can see their medical knowledge. Their understanding of biology is incredible. They could help us cure diseases we've struggled with for centuries. And their partner is learning about human medicine, Alex replied. The connection goes both ways. We're not just giving them energy, we're sharing everything we are. Lieutenant Baker sat up suddenly, his eyes wide with amazement. They have maps of the entire galaxy, star charts showing thousands of habitable worlds. They've been exploring space since before human civilization began. Through the network, Alex felt the collective realization dawning among the human crew. This wasn't just about saving the Thalaxi from extinction. It was about joining something larger, a partnership that could transform both species. Incoming transmission from the Devourer fleet, the communications officer announced. The main screen flickered, showing a creature that barely looked alive. Its skin was gray and withered, its eyes sunken and dark. When it spoke, its voice was like the whisper of dead leaves. Surrender the Thalaxi to us, the creature demanded. We will allow your species to live if you do not interfere. Not a chance, Foster replied firmly. Then you will share their fate, the Devourer hissed. We have consumed 1,000 civilizations, yours will be no different. Yes, it will be, Alex said, standing up despite the battle raging around them. Because we're not afraid of you. The Devourer's image flickered with what might have been surprise. Fear is irrelevant. We take what we need regardless of your emotions. That's where you're wrong, Alex continued, feeling the strength of the network flowing through him. Human emotions aren't a weakness, they're our greatest strength. And when we share them willingly, they become more powerful than any weapon. As if responding to his words, the Thalaxi weapons fired again with increased intensity. This time, the energy beams were brighter and more focused, carrying not just power but the combined hopes and dreams of two species working together. 3. Devourer ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The remaining vessels began to retreat, their dark hulls scarred and burning. Impossible, the Devourer leader snarled. What are you? We are what happens when two species choose trust over fear, Zara 7 said, her voice carrying clearly through. The ship's communication system. We are the future you cannot understand or consume. The Devourer fleet jumped back into hyperspace, fleeing from a force they had never encountered before, the willing cooperation of different species united. By bonds deeper than conquest or submission. As the battle ended, Alex felt the network of connections slowly stabilizing. The emergency bonds that had been formed in desperation were transforming into something permanent and beautiful. Humans and Thalaxi alike were discovering that the sharing of consciousness didn't diminish either species, it enhanced both. Status. Report, Captain Foster called out. All Devourer vessels have withdrawn, the tactical officer reported. Damage to our ship is minimal. The Thalaxi weapons protected us. Alex looked around at his crewmates, seeing the wonder in their faces as they experienced the aftermath of true interspecies connection. Dr. Phillips was discussing advanced medical techniques with her Thalaxi partner. Lieutenant Baker was learning about stellar navigation methods that could cut travel time between stars in half. What happens now? Commander Rodriguez asked. Keth Prime stepped forward, his ancient face showing more hope than it had in centuries. Now we build something new. A society where humans and Thalaxi live and work together, sharing knowledge and dreams. But what about Earth Command? Foster asked. They ordered us to break off contact and return home. Then we give them a choice, Alex said firmly. They can accept what we've discovered, or they can be left behind while both our species move forward together. Through his bond with Zara 7, Alex could sense the agreement of the network. 50 human Thalaxi pairs had formed permanent connections during the battle, and none of them wanted to give up what they had found. We'll establish a colony, Alex continued. A place where both species can live freely, where humans can share their dreams and Thalaxi can share their knowledge. Anyone who wants to join us will be welcome. And those who prefer to remain unchanged? Dr. Phillips asked. Will always be our family, Zara 7 replied. The connections we form don't replace human bonds, they add to them. We become more than we were, not less. 3 months later, Alex stood on the observation deck of the colony ship New Harmony, watching as the first permanent human Thalaxi settlement took shape on the planet below. The city was unlike anything either species had built alone. Structures of living crystal grew alongside traditional human architecture, creating something entirely new and beautiful. Do you ever regret it? Zara 7 asked, joining him at the window. Leaving your old life behind? Alex smiled, feeling the warmth of their connection like a constant embrace. I didn't leave anything behind. I found everything I was meant to be. Through their bond, he could sense the dreams of thousands of humans and Thalaxi, all connected in an ever-growing network of shared consciousness. It was more than survival, it was evolution. And every night, as Alex slept beside Zara 7, their dreams flowed together like two streams becoming one river, carrying both species toward a future neither could have imagined alone.